I hope we don't lose the ability to think critically.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, I was on, college campus recently, and I'm really happy to hear that students are questioning it. Meaning, yes, it's going to go somewhere. Again, no one's debating, but from that idea of how are you learning then? Are you just going to write me an essay about X and just have it spit it out? I hope not.
Right.
And I hope critical thinking continues to stay really important because as I think about prompting, that's what's important. A bunch of us had gone to a session in New York about prompting, and that itself is like that is a skill set,
A skill set.
right? And what story are you telling? How do you set the context? That's like a 2-page Word document. It could be, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is Bread Financial? What do we do? Who are our competitors? All
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. That's like writing a paper,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's really important to not lose. And I think, again, like I said, habit, right, is so important. So you have to watch what's happening. It's not just because ChatGPT told me it's right. And so I really hope we continue to keep that critical thinking.
Welcome to Humans of Fintech, the show where we get very real about the people building the future of finance. I'm your host, Nicole Casperson. And today we are sitting down with Jyoti Menon, VP of Product at Bread Financial. Now, Jyoti has spent her career building at the intersection of finance, payments, and product, long before fintech became the industry it is today. From helping launch Apple Pay at Citi to leading products across servicing, engagement, rewards, and customer experience at Bread Financial, she's had a front row seat to how financial services actually evolve. Jyoti, welcome to Humans of Fintech.
Thank you. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And before we get started, I also have to share you are the winner of our podcast contest, if you will, the Winner's Circle, which is the theme of this entire series. So you are actually our final winner of the Winner's Circle.
Thank you. So exciting. I know when I heard, I was like, oh, awesome. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I know. So of all the people that nominated, I was really excited to sit down with you. And for many reasons. And to start, largely, you've said that you have been a part of fintech well before it was called fintech.
Mm-hmm.
How did you first find your way into this world?
I have to be honest, completely happenstance. I can't say I woke up one day and decided to go do product. I don't even think product existed probably 20, 25 years ago. So I started my career thinking I would do more of traditional finance, did economics undergrad at Barnard, went and did my master's in international affairs, went to Goldman. I was all set to go down that path. And then realized not for me. So I did my summer at McGraw-Hill in their corporate strategy group, and you're thinking the textbook company and you wanted to get into product. I got to literally research video games and education. Literally played video games as part of my summer for work. It was amazing. I made a lot of people very jealous. And that's really what got me thinking about that interest of, oh, there's tools that are digital that help you learn. And I never would have thought of it that way.
How did, what was it about those kind of early moments researching video games at McGraw-Hill? What did that kind of teach you about product?
I think one for sure is test and learn. So if you think about, and I'll date myself, the original Super Mario Brothers, where you had 2 buttons, A and B. If you hit one, you thought you were going to jump. Nope, you weren't going to jump, and you didn't make it over the whatever you had to make it over. And so then realize that's a piece of it and really connect it to how you do work, how you sort of engage in digital. The other piece too is how do you make decisions? So again, going back to Super Mario Brothers, you had the option to play every single level or go through little warp zones and carry forward and jump ahead. So I think of product and especially financial services the same way.
Yeah.
So I'm someone that's a big set it and forget it. I'll do auto pay. I'll go ahead and, check my app or, web experience once in a blue moon if something came up that didn't seem right. There are other people who are actively, maybe looking at their mobile app or web experience or checking on their transactions, and there is no right answer. So it really got me thinking about how do you build the right experience for different people and different demographics.
I guess what else about that experience really taught you about the way that customer behavior integrates into product?
That there's no one customer that's so perfect that you can build everything for.
They really think you can, huh?
I think people think you can.
They
There's
really
like this one perfect solution that everyone's going to love. And I think you can't, it's not even so easy anymore. People think by age, oh, if someone's really old, they're not going to use something, or they're really young, they're going to be super digital savvy. I don't think those rules exist anymore.
Mm.
Um, so that's what it really taught me. Again, in games, it is, trial and error, and a lot of it was around that. But it's the same thing. It's kind of like test and learn in product, right? Let's try certain copy. It may resonate with you, but not resonate with me. Things
Mm.
as simple as that. And then if you think about the different use cases of what you're trying to do, every day you've got your auto pay as the example I shared. Great. You're good. Nothing's gone wrong. The minute something goes sideways, we've all been there. You see that $1,000 charge on your credit card and you're like,
Mhm.
I wasn't in, Vegas when that happened. What's
Mhm.
happened? And you probably want to call someone regardless of age, right? Because you're nervous. Did someone have my card? Did someone steal it? What else could go wrong?
Mhm.
And so I think that's really where the nuance comes in between trying to build the perfect
Mhm.
thing for everyone, but that's also where really thinking about different channels is also really important, and how do you have that as consistent as possible?
Mm. Well, this all seems very challenging
Mhm.
to do. How are you thinking about then that for Bread Financial and what you're building?
So I lead servicing for Bread
Yeah.
Financial for our private label, co-brand,
Oh, cool.
lending
Mhm.
products, and across multiple channels, so web, mobile, as well as rewards, collections, payments, so a wide swath of areas. And so with that, everything is so unique, right? Payments for some is really confusing. I'd say until I led payments when I was at Citi, I didn't understand how complicated card payments was. Who thinks about, minimum payment due, statement balance? When you set up an auto pay, is it your minimum due? What are you actually paying? I mean, it's
Right.
incredibly confusing to most customers. So it's how do you simplify that and give them the right experience? Payments is also collections, right?
Mhm.
Someone may be in a collection scenario, could be just, oh, I forgot I had this card. We have, private label portfolio, and some of those might not be everyday spend
Mhm.
cards. So you made a transaction a month ago, put the card away, forgot about it. So that's not maybe a stressful situation, right? You sort it out, you make your payment. Someone could have had a hardship, right? So
Mhm.
now how do you communicate with them? What language are you using? Right? How much do you want to do digitally? How much do you want to do online? And everyone is so different. Some people would rather call, some could be embarrassed,
Mhm.
some would want options. So just in payments and collections alone, I think that's a very unique space.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the roadmap for that is crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lot to think about. I mean, now with and I know we're gonna talk more about AI later ish, but and your some of your spicy takes there. But
Yeah.
how are you thinking about that in this realm? Because to your point, we've really evolved, I think, as an industry of thinking. Okay, we could have that one ideal customer and we make
Yeah.
everything for them and that's
Yeah.
it. But right, as we've seen, our customer
Mhm.
swaths are way more diverse than we ever expect.
Yeah.
And there's also so much more to do with the data, the diversity of the data that we're
Right.
able to collect. So how are you able to piecemeal those things
Yeah.
to create a personalized experience
Yeah. And
on the platform and medium, like you said,
mhm.
of the person's choosing?
Yeah.
That's all automated.
All automate. Yes.
Just an easy
Data, just
task.
an easy test, super
Yeah.
easy. I think the big thing is data,
Mm-hmm.
right? Data consistency, understanding the customer from end to end is really critical. So with AI, without AI, that's a you have to have good, clean data.
Mm-hmm.
You have to measure habits. You have to do, what some product manager I think are really good at, which is use the data.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where are people clicking? Where are they going? Where are they joining from? Are they getting a push notification and then going to the app? Or are they just every morning getting up and looking at their transactions?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a piece. Like data, I think data privacy will also start becoming really interesting to watch in the AI space. And again, I know we'll talk about it a bit later, is how do we know what data to trust? So if it's
Mm-hmm.
fully in sort of in our house, if you will, then you know it's our data,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you start to go looking outside for data and information, now you have to be really good at trusting the data, knowing the sources, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
no, that's the way to make it feel less, I think, overwhelming. Right?
mhm.
Is the cleanliness of the data to be able to do all the things that you've shared. Um, Kind of going back a little bit to your origin story. You worked on launching Apple Pay at Citi.
Yeah.
What was it about that inflection point? Like, did it feel like an inflection point for the industry? I feel like this is like,
Yeah.
these are the moments that lead us to what we were just talking about,
Yeah.
right? Like, of the personalization of the AI. Like, what did
Correct.
you learn from that you kind of take today?
I think a big thing that did, it was a moment where the tech giants partnered with issuers and with networks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was really big to create a solution that made lives easier for people. What I also learned is that habit is very hard to change.
Mm-hmm.
So Apple is Apple, right? If they're going to drive change, right? They've got the
They're
brand,
gonna
they've
do
got
it.
really great, experiences. They're really passionate about that. It took a very long time, and I would say the tipping point really only came in the pandemic, where we sort of, and even that is probably 20-30% of users are using an Apple Pay. We also
Wow.
have tap in our plastic now, right? So now
Right.
how much are people using their plastic to tap versus their iPhone? And funny enough, I was at Barnard the other day. I'm on their board, and there was a couple events with students, and so I was just talking to students about it, and they had a similar reaction with Apple Pay. How cool is that? Why didn't you open with that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that was a long time ago. But now people are using it, right? People are saying, but it's New York, right? Merchants have to accept it. So
Mm-hmm.
it really got me thinking about, it has to be an ecosystem play. It can't just be Apple trying to push, or just issuers or networks. It has
Right.
to be the merchants as
Right.
well to have the acceptance. And so
Mm.
that's where I think habit comes in. Now the subway has it.
Right.
Big tipping point, I think, for New York to
Yeah.
drive usage. I can, leave my apartment with just my phone if I wanted to.
Huge deal. Huge
No.
deal. I think the
Yeah.
habit change is something that sticks out to me in
Yeah.
that, right? I mean, the subway getting and the no longer needing a metro card, being able to use my digital wallet to
Yeah.
pay my way, and it being that instant and fast. I've written like newsletters about that because
Yeah.
it's so transformative, that
That
simple.
little thing. Even like I think Apple Watch picked up after
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic too, when we're all in masks and going out to go shopping. You really don't want to touch anything, right? You don't want to take your phone out of your
Right.
bag. So I saw, just watching people doing more of that versus the very early days where people had their phones in their hand, still put the phone back in their bag and took out their card.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's fascinating. You kind of you were there for this intersection of big tech, right, and issuer and fintech, right? Because to your point, you know, I don't think that big tech is gonna like take over fintech. It really
It's a
can't,
part, yeah.
and it's just more of a partner, right? And we're at a place where that discussion has kind of played out, right? People
Yeah.
have been like, oh no, big tech and AI too. Now it's a
Right.
new discussion because now it's
Correct.
like, oh, AI.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna take over fintech
Yeah.
because we're like having to do all the things you just said
Right.
is very just difficult.
Correct. And
They're not gonna want to
be
mess with that.
regulated, right?
Yeah,
That's the other piece of this puzzle, is the regulation
right.
that's so critical, because in fintech we have a lot of responsibility, right? I mean, we're basically making sure people are getting the money when they need it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are easy to pay, right? Managing their accounts. I mean, all of this is so incredibly um important for us. And as Bread Financial being also B2B2C, we have a lot of responsibility and partnership with our brand partners to really, build best in class products. And so I think as fintech as a whole, we have to partner, exactly to your point on AI. They might be the drivers because they are tech,
Right, of
right? But
course.
in order to, I think, really enable financial services features, if you will, you have to work with us.
Yeah, exactly. I h- how do you think of that now at Bread? Right? I know we've talked about, you do oversee a wide range of experiences, right?
Mhm.
We had mentioned the servicing, the rewards, the payments, the collections, the web, the mobile, the never-ending to-do list. And we talked about the one customer experience now in a way. How are you thinking about that in this like mature wave then, right? So you can't have one single experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I always go back to the data and where people are coming from and where they want to engage with us. And I think the other piece for us is, because we are B2B2C, our demographic is very wide,
Mm-hmm.
right? We could have clients that are maybe older, less tech savvy. And I know it's not always about age, but to oversimplify,
Mm-hmm.
but we've had some brands where we've launched our mobile app and they were very excited about it, where our gut reaction might not have been,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that was something they were most excited about, right? And so that's been really exciting to see, just the adoption in general. And going back to the sort of Apple reference, I think people got more comfortable relying on their devices,
Mm-hmm.
which, I don't even know what Apple version we're on, 17 or something like that. But
I don't know, just updates now
yeah, I
automatically
know
for
it's
me.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. What are some of those, I guess, so we have the age one. Are there any
Mm.
other patterns that you like, or data
Yeah.
points that you're particularly
Yeah.
able to pinpoint to help make these
Yeah.
reach this goal essentially of
So as I thought about this question, there's sort of the demographic element. How do you think about it? And sometimes stereotypical. It is what it
right.
is. Two is the data. Three is where are you in your journey? Because again, if you're just actively spending, paying your bills, they're probably not actively coming to us to do things, right?
Mhm.
They're good. They're auto pay, kind of like someone like me. If you're trying to get rewards, right? You want to make sure you're understanding what your reward options are, like how do you earn your rewards and then how do you burn your rewards, if you will, right? How
Right.
do you spend them? So I think that's also a very different use case, and that also drives a lot collection. What type of messaging do you have? We had done some early research, and the tone is very important, right?
Mm,
You're already feeling badly for whatever reason, right? You just accidentally forgot or you have a personal issue. The last thing you want is some obnoxious email, right? So a
yeah.
lot of that really goes into it, and that's where I think you have to start piecing it together and then
Mhm.
think about the different entry points.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
is that what makes the kind of rise um of like AI, the wallet, everything, this is all now coming to a head
mhm,
essentially today?
yeah. So I think AI for sure is coming to a head, and I was thinking about AI in my world. AI is here; it's here to stay. I don't think anyone would think otherwise.
No.
I think where it's going and who plays what role as it relates to fintech is what will be really interesting to watch.
Mhm.
Because again, if you look at an Apple Pay, the issuers were a part of it, and it's a channel, right? So as we think about agentic commerce, which everyone's talking about, right? Also behavioral change, right? Today, people are shifting from search in Google to search in whichever AI tool you choose. So that shift is happening more and more. People are also learning how to search better, right? You think
Mhm.
about before,
Mhm.
you're like, oh, I need a blazer for a podcast, right? And that would be your search. But you
Right.
might say, oh, I want a blazer that's double breasted, that's blah, blah, blah. And you've
Mm.
learned how to look. Now, the question becomes how quickly would you allow the agent to make that
Decision
decision
for
purchase
you.
for you. So that's the next habit. I'm someone that would try anything. So sometimes I think I have to take myself out of the mix of what habits people will have.
Yeah.
But I think that we'll really start seeing a lot of change.
There. Yeah. It's interesting to think about, what do you think people are getting wrong about AI then in this moment, especially in our industry, because yeah, we're at that point, right? It's like every headline, everything. We have very binary
Yeah,
ways of thinking about this.
correct.
Help clear that up
Yeah,
for us.
I love that question
Yeah.
because I think, and again, I'm bullish on it. We're gonna get there. It's gonna be a thing. I don't think anyone can probably sit in a room or a conference like this and say AI is not gonna change what we
Yeah.
do. Um, I think we have to be mindful of the impact. And to that, I mean, again, things like probably not the exciting stuff, but the data privacy.
Mhm.
How do we look at fraud? So what if I did a automatic purchase and then I call the bank and say, "Oh, that wasn't me. The AI did it."
Mhm.
What are the rules around that, right? Do we go back to a card present, card not present kind of area, right? Like what are Visa and Mastercard going to set? So I think those are the things that we really have to figure out
Mhm.
quickly. And then the other thing is like we really have to be in the mix. So back to what I said about Apple being the bigger ecosystem.
Mm.
It's not just the issuer, it's not just the network, it's everything. The
Mm.
merchants, the tech,
The distribution.
data, the fraud, everything you can think of has to be a mix in this.
Mhm.
What I will say, a little soapboxy on AI is I hope we don't lose the ability to think critically.
Mhm.
Um, as I mentioned, I was on, a college campus recently, and I'm really happy to hear that students are questioning it. Meaning, yes, it's going to go somewhere. Again, no one's debating, but from a responsibility, right? Energy generation
Mhm.
is one, but also from that idea of how are you learning then? Are you just going to put in write me an essay about X and just have it spit it out? I hope not.
Right.
And I hope critical thinking continues to stay really important because as I think about prompting, that's what's important. A bunch of us had gone to a session in New York about prompting, and that itself is like that is a skill set.
A skill set.
Right, and what story are you telling? How do you set the context? That's like a two-page Word document, it could be,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
What is Bread Financial? What do we do? Who are our competitors? All
Mhm.
that stuff. That's like writing a paper, right?
Mhm.
And that's really important to not lose, and I think, again, like I said, habit, right, is
Mhm.
so important. So you have to watch what's happening. It's not just because ChatGPT told me it's right, and so I really hope we continue to keep that critical
Mhm.
thinking. And then the other thing I'll say is I really hope leaders lean in to learn and
Yes.
really be in the weeds with the team, because if you don't understand it,
In the
you're going to be
weeds.
left behind. Like, yes, again, I'm overgeneralizing. The quote unquote young people on the team
Mm.
are out there trying things,
Experimenting.
experimenting. We
Yeah.
have to be doing the same. Like, we
Yeah.
have to be talking to friends, spouses, colleagues. What did you try? So I set up a little pod at work with some product managers. For the most part, I'm joining them almost weekly, just see what they're doing, and
Yeah.
just out of their own, one person built used AI to figure out data in Snowflake just by herself, right?
Yeah.
Another person had written the full context prompt for Bread Financial so we could share it internally. So there's a lot of that the teams are just doing, and I think it's really important as leaders to encourage it and talk about it and let people test
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, well, and it being like, yeah, and it feeling that open forum, right? If you will, like if
Mhm.
you're like, hey, like I just want to know, let me check it out. I
Yeah.
don't be afraid.
Yeah.
There's no grade
Right,
here.
exactly. And it was great to
Right.
see, and it was a conversation. Oh, how did that work? What did you learn? So it was really great.
Yeah, and so to the critical thinking part,
Mhm.
one that's good to know from the kiddos in college.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I don't think well. I think people have maybe already tried,
Mm.
right? To leverage AI so they don't have to critically think. And
I
we
think
see what
so.
happens. We see some really awful papers.
Yeah.
I've taught at universities before.
Mm.
And I tell them I'm like I will tell my students like, hey, so when you submit your essay, I 1,000% can tell
Yeah.
if when it's AI. I'm cool. Just do better.
Yeah.
Like don't exactly to your point. Don't just like ask it to do something and it spit it out and
Yeah.
copy and paste it.
Because we know it's not accurate yet. And I've seen it at work
Yeah.
too, where people are like, oh, someone just put that question into AI and spit it back out. But it's also unique to your company, right? So
Mhm.
AI might say these are the 3 steps to take, but they're not relevant to where you work.
Right.
That's the other
Right.
piece.
Right. And the thing is that we will always have to be the critical thinkers feeding it
Correct.
the information.
Exactly.
And I just don't see a world honestly, like it's hard to believe that there's a world where I mean, sure eventually, but
Yeah.
not anytime soon. Like
Yeah.
anyway, I'm with you.
Although I would like AI to fold my laundry.
Yeah.
I'd be really happy if someone
You
figures
think the
that
tech
out.
guys in
Yeah.
Silicon Valley would figure that one out already.
Yeah.
They're like instant food,
Yeah.
instant car,
Exactly.
instant
I
this,
mean, they're cleaning the
instant
casino floors here with the little
I
robot,
there
so
you go.
I'm in.
Hey, listeners. I want to take a moment to tell you all about the Academy of Fintech, our private membership community here at Fintech is Femme. Now, I built the Academy for founders, operators, investors, and leaders who don't want to just keep up with fintech, but want to help shape where it's going next. Leaders who want real influence and to build in community as we build our legacies. Now, membership includes a private Slack community, monthly virtual salons and masterclasses, plus exclusive fireside chats with industry leaders. Now, that's over 40 virtual lessons that you can access to build your career and influence. Plus, our members receive early access to in person events, including the FEMI Awards and New York FinTech Week summits, including our crowd favorite, the Fintech is Femme Leadership Summit, which is also in San Francisco. But the real value is truly the rooms, the relationships, the people. Most of my success has come from building with ecosystem partners and the kind of proximity that turns conversations into real opportunity, real deal flow, real pipeline. And I want to bring that access to you. Now, leaders from Stripe and MasterCard and so many other iconic fintech brands are already inside the Academy. So, if you're looking for a place that's thoughtful, high signal, and built for people actually doing the work, memberships are now open. You can learn more and apply at fintechisfem.co. Just scroll and click on our community tab, and you'll learn all about the Academy of Fintech. All right, let's get back to the show. I'll share an anecdote with you, which is I was at an event and Michael Lewis, the author of The Big Short and Moneyball and
Yeah.
all of that, he was there and he told us about a dinner he was having with Sam Altman, and uh and he was talking to Sam Altman about writing his like possibly writing his memoir for
Oh,
him,
wow.
you know, and which makes sense, right? Michael Lewis, duh. Michael Lewis asks him, he goes, "Well, Sam, if your AI and your machine is so smart, why doesn't it write your book for you? Why should me or anyone have to do it?"
Yeah.
And he literally said, "Because it's not good enough.
Yeah. It's not there
It's
yet.
not good enough for that." And I don't know if I don't know if he knows that it ever
Yeah.
will be, right? So thus making us realize what is the actual purpose of this
Yeah.
technology to work
And,
alongside of us.
and I think it'll pivot because we don't know what we don't know, right? I remember speaking at Barnard once and I said I'd worked, this is whatever, 10, 15 years ago. And I said, "Oh, this is what I do now. I worked on Apple Pay, blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "Did you know you always wanted to do that when you were in college?" I was like, "Oh,
Yes, of course, I dreamed of
there
creating
was no
digital
such
wallets.
iPhone. There was no Apple. Like, it didn't exist.
Yeah,
So,
like I
which is
couldn't
why
dream of
critical thinking
this.
is so important. The reason I could do product is because I can think.
I mean,
So,
th- yes, thank
but I mean,
goodness.
that's like, yeah, I mean, I think people
It's
forget
true.
that.
It's true. Yeah, no, I totally. So then what changes because
Mm,
of AI in your world,
yeah.
and then what doesn't?
I think so. This is a bit on the critical thinking. Hopefully, it doesn't change, but I think we do get more efficient, right? So, as
Mhm.
much as yes, we don't want to just feed and copy paste, but imagine we've written that prompt and we're pulling data. You can go in the session that we did in New York, and yes, it was sort of prompted already and some of it drafted, but you could literally go from some of these contexts and prompting all the way to a prototype in 3 hours. Obviously, in real life, it's not
Mhm.
3 hours, but you can at least get to concepts by leveraging the tools that are out there to quickly do test and learn, right? Imagine you're in a world where you're like, oh, I need if my team hears this, they're going to laugh, a blue button or a red button, and you want to test it. I could probably just do a 2-minute prototype on with AI,
Yeah.
right? Whereas before, you might have to go, get designers, which will also still continue to be important roles,
Yeah,
but
just in
not
different
on, I
ways.
want to test this little thing. Like,
Yeah.
same thing with the data that the person on the team did. She could ask our data team, but if she could try to work it through, like they've got lots of stuff they're figuring out, right?
Mhm.
So how do we just become more efficient and think about it as a tool? Someone I was at a panel with said he had totally a humble brag of he was like an not quite an astronaut, but like in something in aeronautics, and he's like a
Yes.
co-pilot. It's like your co-pilot
Yeah.
it's your sort of
Copilot.
intern is another way I've heard AI being talked about.
What do you
We
call
use
it?
co-pilot
Copilot?
in the office.
Yeah.
But an intern's an interesting term too, right? Imagine you're like a young person, now you're coaching someone
Yeah.
to give you an output. That's what it is. So instead of me telling the intern I need X, Y, and Z, I'm putting it in, and now you're hopefully learning how to
Mhm.
coach and prompt
Yeah.
people to do work.
Right. Well, and I think the idea, honestly, like to kind of bring it all back, right? Obviously, test, experiment, iterate, like
Hmm.
you learned back in
Yeah,
your, video game research
exactly.
days. But then no, like I think if we are the ones who just, especially in the fintech space, we're the ones that get to decide how this all shakes out in a way, because we're the ones that are going to know, okay, how does this AI integrate into the financial services experience and thus influencing our entire economy and thus world.
That's right.
So, it's just
It
us.
does, yeah, and we have to think about the so what of it too. And I had an
Yeah,
old boss who told me that like it's great to be curious about what's happening in the market, but always think about the so what for your
yeah,
business.
right. Okay. Then what is
This
the
is what
ultimate so what for your business?
I mean for us. It's growth.
Yeah.
Its growth is extremely important for us to continue to grow, build really solid customer experiences. That's extremely important to me, given sort of owning the servicing channel and people engaging where maybe they're having a rough moment. Want
Mhm.
to keep that as simple and easy as we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no. It makes sense. You've talked about leading across multiple generations and work styles, and you've also had multiple locations in your career, obviously, right? We've talked about them. What has felt maybe the hardest about leadership
Mhm.
right now?
Yeah. I think it is that same thing like customers, people on teams are not all the same. And what I've learned is different people grow differently and different people want to be engaged with differently. So you can't assume, again, you want to be remote, therefore you don't really want to engage and do the work. We have some folks on the team who are pretty much 100% remote who are some of the most engaged. We have people that are attached to an office and aren't as engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really learning about what is interesting to people. It's also realizing there you work with people that have different ambition.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as someone who's ambitious in general, sometimes it's hard to recognize like not everyone is or has to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they might have different priorities.
Mm-hmm.
So just because I'm maybe willing to, okay, if I have to be up late to finish something, do whatever I need to do, not everyone feels that way because at the end of the day, that's not what they're motivated by. So I think that's what's really important. The other thing I'll say is show up. I think it's really important as leaders to be in there with the team and feel like they can reach you. Like, again, this AI example I gave you, we're just a handful of us talking through it half an hour every week, every other week, but I'm engaged too. And I'm learning.
Yeah, we
But
are.
yeah, so I think that's really important. In terms of leadership. And I
Yeah.
think coaching, this is one thing I'm curious to watch, going back to
Okay.
sort of AI and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. How are we going to train future leaders?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we believe we're going to live in a world where you don't need I say don't need in quotes, like you'll always need the
Mm-hmm.
people. I'm not saying everyone's out of a
Right.
job and
Where
AI
you
is
don't need
taking
people in
over.
certain areas.
Certain areas are as many, right? Maybe
Yeah.
you needed 10, now you need 9, or you still need the 10, but they're doing more things,
Or they're
right?
or they're over there doing something else.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like shifting is I want to make sure we're still teaching leaders how to lead because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of what I know, I often use the phrase not my first rodeo, not because I'm any smarter than anyone else, but because I've been in the industry a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I can often tell you, I'm like, in 3 months, here's what's going to happen if we make this decision,
Love
just
that.
because I've seen it.
Yeah. You know
Right.
the
So,
patterns.
so I wonder what's going to happen fast forward 10, 15, 20 years where more of the basic learning
Mm-hmm.
is AI
Mm-hmm. Right.
versus
Well,
getting into Excel. And I mean, we remember
yeah.
all the PowerPoint creation, Excel creation. Now my team gets really worried when I get into their content that I'm going to break something, right? Like I'm not in Jira that often
Yeah.
anymore, right? So I can't teach it. Like, should
Mm-hmm.
I? Probably not. Like other people are smarter than me to teach it. But how, as people coming up, Jira might work differently in 10
Mm-hmm.
years,
Mm-hmm.
5, probably even sooner. I don't know why I'm saying 10.
I know, right? More like
Probably
5.
like, yeah, or
More like
less.
I know,
Yeah,
because it's all happening a lot faster now.
exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the that is what's hard. I think about leadership today is that we're one not and we said it before, right? Not thinking so binary about everything. The testing and learning and iterating. I think there can probably be some misconceptions, right? That especially at someone at
Yeah,
your
yeah,
seniority,
yeah.
like should you even be doing that?
Yeah.
And I think hell, it could.
100%.
I've
I
heard,
think we should all be
yeah,
doing it. I
yeah,
think it's a great day if CEOs are in
I've heard that.
AI. I 100% because then I think as leaders, regardless of your level, you understand what your team is doing and not to it's not to say, oh, how are you writing the
Mm-hmm.
prompt, but to have an appreciation of their work. I think is so important
Yeah,
as
yeah.
leaders.
So what excites you the most then moving forward at at
Uh,
Bread in
yeah.
the industry?
I think the constant change. I know it
Yeah.
sounds a little crazy, but I think it's a constant change
There are
because
people
you
that
have
don't
to
like
keep.
that.
There are people that don't like change. It's a constant opportunity to learn. So I think if you stop, at least I shouldn't speak for everyone. If I stop learning, I get bored. So
Mhm.
I think the fact that you have to continue to be curious and try things out and, kind of get in there with the team, I really love that about
Mhm.
Bread, about the space, about AI, all of it.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a few rapid fire
Let's
questions
do it.
if you're ready. Okay. Amazing. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
How do you take it?
Iced Americano with skim.
Wow.
Even in the winter.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Sorry. I have one of
We
our
have people who are
we
constant.
have people
No, yeah,
Sorry.
I felt like I'm walking down the street with it.
She's a
Well,
New
actually, I
Yorker.
am. New Yorker, I've got
You're
my
a New
gloves on, it's
Yeah,
fine.
you're like you're a New Yorker. Yeah, you drink your iced coffee. The first app you check in the morning.
Instagram?
For real?
I was thinking, I'm like, should I say Outlook or
Yeah.
Teams?
I mean,
'Cause
Gmail,
Gmail,
email is
whatever. Email? No,
yeah.
because I feel like when I wake up, although nowadays Instagram's not always funny, so maybe it's
It
a
used to
bad,
bring
but I
joy.
tend to go between like sort of the social, just some fun stuff,
Yeah.
news, and then sort of email.
So
It's fast succession.
you are an Instagram user. That is
I pretend to be a millennial. I'm
pretend.
definitely not. I pretend. I'm over the.
over the
millennial hump.
Oh my gosh, that's okay. We can claim you.
We can claim it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said
That's fine.
Instagram as your
It's true.
option here. That explains. I think you followed me on Instagram.
I
Right,
do recently.
Recently, I have to follow
Yeah.
you back. Because I just remember seeing it and being like, whoa. Usually, I mean, we're connected on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, LinkedIn's fun too, but
Yeah.
Insta's kind of, and I'm not so active. Like, I'm not like an influencer type. Again, I pretend to be a millennial, and if I'm traveling or here, I'm like posting a bit more. But yeah,
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's actually really fun
but
to
if
know.
leaders at Bread are hearing it, then I would
I'm
say
on
Outlook
LinkedIn.
and Teams
oh
and
no, yes.
LinkedIn in the morning. Yeah,
Of course, of course. Okay, you even have the order of
yeah,
operations of when you're of when it's okay. One leadership trait that you always bet on.
grit.
What's a habit that makes you 10 times more productive?
I make the most of my time when I'm somewhere I can't do a lot of things. By that I mean airplanes, airports, sitting in long Uber rides. I can get through a bunch of emails, write some posts, like all that kind of stuff. Just the tactical. Airport time is great for reviewing content that's been in my inbox. So that really helps me is to sort of compartmentalize the work I can do when I'm in my own space, like not distracted, right? Because in the office, there are people, which is the best part about being in the
Yeah,
office. But
but you gotta
that's
deal
it.
with them.
Yeah.
I understand.
So yeah, you got to talk to everyone, which I love.
I've written. I feel like sometimes I've written some of my best newsletters in an airplane. You
Yeah.
know, T-Rex style.
Yeah, and
On
no one
the
can bother you.
Yeah, exactly, because I'm not having meetings all
Yeah.
day. So
No one's gonna come
Why-
talk to you. Yeah, exactly.
everyone go work in your transit. All right. One thing people misunderstand about product leadership.
That it's only the cool, innovative stuff that product does.
Yeah.
Product has to do things that are obviously cool and innovative, but again, fintech, we are regulated, right? We do have to solve real customer problems. So the innovation is fantastic. And I think we also separate innovation a lot of times.
Mhm.
I think innovation is in everything we do, right? I would think the person on the team or the people that have done some of these AI tests are being innovative about it,
Mhm.
right? How do I figure out how to use AI to my ability? I think that's innovative. It doesn't have to be let's go build a rocket ship to be
Right.
innovative.
Right. Yeah. No.
So,
Exactly. I think simplifying what that innovation can be, the seeing of gaps.
correct.
Right. And it's true. Like the way that our media, and sometimes Instagram,
Yeah.
right, can make it seem like exactly you have to like
Yeah.
build a rocket ship, or you have to do this crazy thing. Yeah. Like there's a lot of ambition to be had in
Yeah.
the little gaps.
Correct. And those
in our
sometimes
industry.
are the big wins.
Yeah. Huge.
The little gaps
huge.
that we're filling are the big wins.
Well, we're the ones that it's why to give us a whole 360.
Yeah.
That's what brings us back to what we said at the top, right? The figuring out the dynamics of the customer experience,
Yep.
right? And now it's not single, but still having to make a
Correct.
singular version, even though it's so diverse. And all of these things
Mhm.
happen when you're looking for those little gaps and
Exactly.
seeing those things. I love it, Jyoti. This has been such a pleasure to have
So
you
great.
on Humans of Fintech. I'm so excited that somehow the Las Vegas Fintech Meetup conference circuit brought us together.
Yes.
But I've had so many requests for more leaders in product to be on the show. So this has been really helpful. I'm sure my audience is learning so much from this interview. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, it's been so fun.
Yes.
And if you love this episode, be sure to subscribe to Humans of Fintech anywhere you get your podcasts. But you should definitely check out our YouTube. See you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Humans of Fintech. If you loved this and want to hear more from leaders across the fintech industry, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is Fintech is Femme. And be sure to sign up for the Fintech is Femme newsletter, which you can do at fintechisfemme.co. See you next time.